All right, guys, welcome back. It's time for some more cornerbacks. And again, there are so many good cornerbacks in this draft, I had to split this out into two parts. So the first video was covering the top guys, the guys who are almost definitely going to go in the top 50. And even with that, I couldn't cram everybody in because this next guy we're going to talk about, he may very well creep into that top 50 as well. We may have 7 corners go in the top 50 this year. It would not surprise me at all. I kind of put a cutoff between Kyler Gordon and the previous guy, McCreary, but definitely don't mistake that for any belief or disrespect that Kyler's less desirable. I just feel like he's a little less likely to go in that top 50, but very good chance both do. So let's just open up with Kyler Gordon. And before I dive into him specifically, I want to say, even though we're changing things on defense this offseason, supposedly, it needs to be remembered that taking cornerbacks later in the draft is something that Carroll is still really, really good at. He usually gets more than he put in on those guys. So if you're looking at this draft and you're going, well, we don't want to spend our top 3 picks on a corner, we'll be open for business with cornerbacks maybe closer to the 3rd round or maybe even 3rd day, then this is the area where you can maybe hope somebody slips to your 3rd round pick and then you can go get them. So very good chance one of these guys ends up a Seahawk. Kyler Gordon, 6 feet tall, 194 pounds, 4.5240, decent, 31-inch arms, good enough. He's got enough size and length to work for Carroll's archetype. He really only had 2 seasons of significant performance. 2021 was the big year for him, though, on a pretty bad team. 45 tackles, 2 for loss, 2 picks, 7 passes defensed, and a forced fumble. He has actually got a first-round grade from a couple of sites. A couple have him in the 4th. CBS has him all the way down in like the 4th or 5th round, though. That's not happening. I think 2nd round is probably what you're looking at. You are probably looking at a 2nd round pick for Kyler. I give him a good chance of going before the 50th pick, but probably somewhere around there. Kyler is a fantastic athlete. There's no doubt about that. The things he can do, the way, his jumping ability, his ability to change direction, all wonderful. He's awesome against the run, which is definitely an asset you want to have. His coverage skills are excellent. Really impressed with his coverage skills. He's good in press. He can press well. He's scheme flexible. I think if you play zone, if you play man, if you play cover 3, cover 500, whatever, he can do it. And he can play inside or outside. The main issues with Kyler would just be occasionally when he's playing man, he can get caught out of position a little bit. He sometimes starts watching stuff that doesn't have to do with his assignment and gets distracted a little bit. And while his speed is good enough, it's not great. 4.52 is not amazing. So I think he can get blown by really speedy receivers. All right, so the next guy will be Tariq Woolen of the University of Texas San Antonio. This is a guy whose measurables are in some ways comparable to Sauce. The main difference between Woolen and Sauce is that Sauce actually played at a very high level for several years, whereas Woolen is mostly just potential. He might be able to do these things. In terms of the talent, it's really strong, but you don't have a great guarantee that he's going to get to those heights. With Sauce, you do. But Woolen might only cost your 3rd round pick. So 6'4", big, 205 pounds, 4.2640. Dude's a lightning bolt out there. Arms are freaky long, 33.5 inches, a little more than that even. So on point in terms of the Carroll archetype. However, we're talking about minimal production at college. 2 seasons, 60 tackles, 5 for loss, 2 career interceptions, 9 career passes defensed. Raw. He needs work. Most websites have him in the 3rd. Draft Network has him in the 2nd. PFF has him in the 4th. Seems like he is going to be a 3rd rounder. He just started playing the cornerback position fairly recently, just a few years ago. So he's going to get exponentially better as he picks up more experience. He's an incredible athlete. The size and speed speaks for itself. He could be a future all-pro corner. He's a guy I look at and I go, his upside is tremendous. I don't know if he'll ever get there, but he has great upside. He's going to be awesome in zone. He can play some press as well. There's a lot to like if you're into that Pete Carroll archetype of corner. Now, unlike with Sauce, who can be thrown right in day one probably, Woolen is going to need a couple of years to develop. Now, Carroll may do a very good job developing him, but you are going to have to look at a year, maybe even 2 years, where you're not getting much out of him. And as of right now, he needs to work on his tackling, and that's obviously something we place a fairly high value on here. So these are things that should come with time, though, right? Like, we have time to kill. We have Drew Lock as our quarterback. We're not going to be good this year. It's okay to have a project. All right, Alante Taylor is next. Some people think this guy's going to end up playing safety. I personally don't right now. Tennessee volunteer, 6 feet, 4.3, 640, very nice 40 time, 32.3-inch arms. Arm length is solid. He had 4 years of experience at Tennessee, played quite a bit, racked up 160 or so tackles, racked up 4 interceptions over the last 3 years. Not the greatest of numbers, but there's definitely something pretty good here with Alante Taylor. The big boards have him going in the 3rd or the 4th. He's got a lot of experience because he played so much at Tennessee. He's got strong coverage instincts, good overall athlete, plays very physically, definitely gets up in receivers' grills and makes it hard for them to do anything. He's best in zone and best when he's allowed to press a receiver at the line, but he can do some man, so there's that versatility we're talking about. He's excellent when he's allowed to plant his foot and drive forward on a pass. When he drops back into that zone and he sees a play developing right in front of him, his ability to drive forward and make a play on the ball is awesome. However, he does need to work on his tackling, and really good route runners do give him a hard time when he's trying to man up. So there are some things to definitely work on, but interesting prospect nevertheless. I like a lot of things about Alante. Mario Goodrich is our next guy, a Clemson product. This guy is somehow weighed in at about 176 pounds at the combine, which seems like he should probably go try out for, I don't know, being a supermodel at Dior or something and not football, but whatever. He can add a little bit of weight. He is 6 feet tall, so that's fine. 4.5, 240, 30.5-inch arms. Only 1 season at Clemson where he really played very much, but it was pretty good. 2 interceptions, 9 passes defensed, 42 tackles, and he earned a draftable grade from 4 big boards, including Walter Football, giving him a chance of being a 3rd-round pick. I think he's more likely a 4th or 5th-round guy. And there is some stuff that is definitely appealing about him. He's a good athlete. His ability to change direction is solid. He's got good enough length. He's got good enough height to fit in the Carroll archetype. He's a good fit for press or zone, or press and zone. He's great jamming at the line of scrimmage just overall. He's somebody who really thrives on disrupting a receiver at the start of their route. Plays very smart. Great against the run. His ball skills are solid. Even though he only has 2 career interceptions, and he's going to be a special team star at the very least. Now, he can't really play man, his speed is not stellar, and he only played 1 full year, so you may be looking at a guy you need to develop over the course of a few years. Okay, now we have Cam Taylor-Britt from Nebraska. A little bit on the smaller side, but nothing that completely wipes him out, I don't think. 5'11", 196 pounds, 4.38 40, so nice 40 time, 31.5-inch arms, pretty decent. Had 3 productive years at Nebraska, 5 interceptions, 19 passes defensed over those 3 years. Had 128 tackles, 10 tackles for loss. Pretty decent numbers, nothing to blow you away. But the Draft Network actually thinks he could be a 3rd-round pick. I think far more likely is somewhere between the 3rd and the 4th, or excuse me, the 4th and the 5th. But interesting prospect. Mostly does his work in zone, good zone corner. Goes after the ball really well, somebody who makes great breaks on the ball. He's a great run defender as well. Another really solid run defender. When he's the impact player on run plays, he really relishes that. He can handle all different sorts of responsibilities as a zone corner. You can drop him into coverage over the middle, along the sideline, deep. He can do all kinds of different stuff and do it well. He is capable as a man defender as well, which is nice if we're truly doing a hybrid. He's a decent athlete. I wouldn't call him a great one, but he's good enough. And he's a special teams plus. He does occasionally misread angles. I said that he is a great run defender, and he is in terms of his ability to tackle, but sometimes I think like he misreads angles and lets the guy get past him when he shouldn't. And he is one to bite on double moves a little too much. So he does have some stuff to work on, but I do like him. All right, we got Martin Emerson coming up next. Mississippi State product, 6'2", a little bit taller, 201 pounds, 4.5340. Very long arms, very exciting. 33.5-inch arms. 3 years of quality experience at Mississippi State. Racked up about 150 tackles. Only 1 interception, but he did make a grand total of 15 passes defensed, which is pretty decent for a college player, I think. Obviously not the most gaudy stat line, but his abilities, his physical frame has earned him credit as a potential third-round guy, very likely to at least go in the 4th. He's got a lot of experience. That's one thing to like about him. He's very lengthy. He's great jamming at the line of scrimmage. Loves to disrupt routes at the front at the very start of the play. Very good at knocking receivers off their timing routes. When he's in zone, he reacts very quickly. He's an ideal fit for the Carroll cover 3 defense. Now, the question with him is are we still doing a lot of that? I would assume that we still do some of it, but is it enough to use a 3rd or 4th round pick on a guy who's only mostly going to be good at that? He's not a great athlete, so that's why I say his ability to be good in a defense will be dependent on him playing in a system that caters to his strengths, which would be the Carroll cover 3, so it depends on how we're looking at utilizing players this year. He has limited value in any defense that isn't his own defense, and we do have to question his ball skills when he has, 1 career interception, right? Ball skills, not great. So Martin Emerson is interesting to me if we're still going to run a lot of Pete Carroll zone, and not so interesting to me if we're not. And that would do it for this video. Those are the guys who I think have at least a chance to sneak into the 3rd round, or maybe even up in the 2nd. Some of them will probably get to round 4 or 5, but those are some next tier guys who I'm into. So tomorrow we'll go deeper into the sleepers. Let me know what you think. Let me know who you like. I will see you guys later. Go Hawks.